Wrestling figures can be very good. As we know, we're living in the golden era. We have the best WWE and wrestling action figures that we've ever seen in the history of the planet. Then there are figures on the opposite side of the spectrum that are not so great, that are not terrific, that do not hold up the quality standard that we know so well. And in this video, we're going to be discussing some of those figures. And today, we're not even really talking about the worst figures ever. Don't get me wrong, some of these are pretty damn bad in my opinion in terms of worst. But I'm talking about 5 figures that genuinely pissed me off. Either when they were released, when I reviewed them, the hype versus the result. We're going to get into it today, man. So with that being said, let's start off our list with the first figure. We may have a couple honorable mentions, but let's get into the first figure, man. The first figure we're going to talk about today, I don't even own it. That's how much it pissed me off. I don't even own it. That is how much I just despise this figure. But today, we're starting off with the Ringside Collectibles exclusive Bray Wyatt figure from the Firefly Funhouse. But I do have 2 figures that kind of represent that figure, which we'll get into. I may have to adjust the camera. And those 2 figures are going to be these right here, man. We are referring to the WWE Elite Series 85 Bray Wyatt, which I genuinely believe may be one of the most underrated WWE Elites that Mattel's ever done, and I can get into that a little bit. It's just an underrated one, okay? And I'll discuss that in a minute. But then we have the basic version of the Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt over here. You can see I got my dumpster, got my recycling bin. I ain't recycling no figures in this one, Brad. The only way I'm recycling them is to get them the hell out of my house. But this basic right here this is something that doesn't happen often with Mattel and WWE figures, and it probably would have happened a lot more back in the day rather than the current day. But the basic version of this specific look that we wanted this is the best representation of Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt that we ever got from Mattel. I'd really love to see them do greatest hits with either Elite 85 or redo the ringside exclusive, because on that ringside exclusive, he had on this like tight athletic Under Armour style shirt, because it still had the belly button sculpted in there, just with a painted torso. It had just regular standard arms, no sculpt or anything. There was no belt on the figure. There was no sculpted waist, right? Like, look right here, man. They even sculpted the wrinkles and, you know, the tight waist deal that they put, the cuffs around the stomach, the cuffs around the sleeves. They put the wrinkles in here. You have the collar coming through here. A lot of these details were missing from that ringside exclusive. And it also looked like he had damn gray slacks on, like he was going to a funeral or a wedding or something like that, man. Just was a terrible, atrocious pick. And this khaki color's nice. This is easily like a fantastic head sculpt, fantastic sculpt work. This may be one of my favorite basics they've ever done. And not that he's just the most athletic guy of all time, but as a standard figure that you could have in the collection to pose around and you know, do different things and activities with in terms of your collection, this is the perfect Bray Wyatt for the Firefly Funhouse. Now, when you get into this Elite 85 figure, it's a bit different. You can tell that they still went with kind of this is a newer torso. It did have the sculpted collar at least. It did have some molded sleeves and stuff like that, but this is not what we got on that ringside exclusive. You know, there's no belt sculpt or anything, which I understand, but I wish they could have done something here at the bottom to not make it look like it's just tucked into these weird pants. Like, doesn't it just look like he's wearing these weird pants? Because look how smooth and clean the crotch is compared to the legs. Look how sculpted the legs are. And to my knowledge, I don't think they've ever resculpted or reused these legs, to my knowledge. And these legs are just head and shoulders above the Muhammad Ali legs, and they're pinless, so I don't know what's up with that. I would much rather them use this mold, because these are super nice and posable. I like them. This is a solid figure. This figure shelf-warmed like crazy. Not a lot of people liked it. Kind of looks like he's wearing Shaggy pants from Scooby-Doo, but yeah, man, that ringside exclusive Bray Wyatt is just useless, man. Just not good. These 2 are much better representations of that era and character. But the next figure is going to be Elite 81 Angelo Dawkins, man. Probably one of the worst elites that they've ever created. You put it up there with the Boulder Shoulder Rhino, the Elite 65 Ronda Rousey. This guy right here was just not good. The head sculpt was good. They gave him a Braun Strowman torso, brother. Why are we giving this man Braun Strowman torso? The only guy that should be rocking a Braun Strowman torso is, say it with me, Braun Strowman. Thank you. Yeah, good job. But jacked arms. I think these are Brock Lesnar Elite arms. These super baggy shorts, which I understand he may have been wearing around the time, but the sculpt is just too massive. Look how massive they are. You have this giant torso. And then we finally got the redo, and it was the Elite 103 Angelo Dawkins. Look how much better this is. Just look at the difference. This looks like it was made by Jax or something at this scale. Just such a better formula, better shoulders, better arms, better torso, better formula. Overall, much better just craft of a figure than this guy over here. This figure is just an abomination. Just not good, man. They totally redeemed him, and thank God they did. This figure right here. And when I see this figure, I mean, you could talk about the jersey and the upgrades in that way, but this figure is so much better than this. It's actually ridiculous, but that's another one right there is the Elite 81 Angelo Dawkins, and we had his upgrade there with the Elite 103. But next up, it is going to be Elite Series 98 Demon Finn Balor. Now, I do have another Finn Balor that I'll probably put in here, but you'll probably look at this figure and you'll think to yourself, oh, this head sculpt, this is a great head sculpt. You'll think, oh, the body paint, this is a demon. How could you possibly put a demon Finn Balor on this list? Well, if you knew the lore, I want to say I was almost done with the review, or I was halfway through the review, and I was doing comparisons, and I was loving the figure. And then I did comparisons, and I noticed that they gave him Daniel Bryan thighs and legs. And my reaction, I believe, is caught on camera in the review. If you go to the Elite 98 review of this figure. And, you know, I think if you look at it, is it not shorter than all the rest? Like, what's up with that? I really can't tell. I think they used Daniel Bryan thighs? I just noticed it. What the hell? It's not even the thighs. It's the full lower legs. That's what they did. They used smaller thighs. Why? Unbelievable. Look at this. Now he's too short compared to all the rest of them. Why would you do that? The formula was perfect. I knew there was something off. Damn. And I was completely flabbergasted. I think it ruined everything about the figure for me. I jumped off a bridge. It was awful. It was just truly awful. I still don't like this figure for that reason. And this is what I'm talking about. We'll bring the Elite 70 Finn Balor in here. This is the difference. You could see they made him shorter, and they have stuck with this style height for Finn Balor since this figure. So this is the figure that kickstarted them making Finn Balor really small, giving him the small legs and stuff like that. And it's kind of led to these scaling issues, in my opinion. But that is something that, it was just one of those things where it's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it type deal. And I think that's just brutal, just absolutely brutal. But this figure, a lot of people always say, oh, how do you hate that Jack the Ripper Elite? And the reason was they made him way too dark, and this is a custom head sculpt. This is not the official head sculpt. I had a guy send this out to me because he knew how much I was upset about that figure, and it looks incredible. What an absolute beautiful head sculpt and customization process right here. They put this head sculpt originally on here, but the paint was very messy. It was way too dark, and it didn't look good. Putting this head sculpt on this figure actually saved this figure for me, and they also gave him a black hat instead of the brown hat that he had, so I did custom paint that. I think we did that on surgery or something like that. But you can see this figure is so much more upgraded now, but the original Elite 98 is the spot that goes in this video. Just goodness gracious, why would they do that? Why would you ever do that? We're moving right along, man. Next up is going to be Elite 104 Solo Sikoa, man. The more I look at this figure, the more I dislike it. I mean, looking back, I know everybody was ripping on this figure back in the day, but it's because they gave him the Usos torso instead of, they gave him a skinny torso, man, and Solo, to my knowledge, has never been really a smaller dude in WWE, even in his earlier days. I mean, this is just an atrocious formula. He looks like a stick figure. He looks like this would be Solo Sikoa at 17 years old or possibly younger, honestly. Super skinny, super lean, small shoulders, small arms, head sculpt wasn't that great, Usos torso, and then these legs, I mean, they still do this to Solo Sikoa, which we'll get into. These legs with these bunchy shorts and then having this skinny, thin leg coming out of here with the skinny calves and everything, is just a hideous look. It does not look good. And even though they went to the next figure, which is much better, head sculpt was upgraded, torso was upgraded, they still gave him small shoulders and arms, and then they still give him these legs where it's these little toothpicks coming out of these chunky shorts. Like, look at this figure from afar, man. It looks so weird to me. It just looks odd, man. This is not how Solo Sikoa has looked in his career. And then you go to the Ultimate Edition. I do have the hoodie on here, but they still give him these shoulders and arms. To this day, they still give him these shoulders and arms. This man has bigger shoulders and arms than this. They gave him super skinny shoulders and arms. The torso's not bad. This is actually, I think this gets the worst Ultimate of the Year so far. I mean, we're going to re-rank him and everything, but to my knowledge, when we ranked him earlier this year, he did come in at the very bottom. But these legs, man, still, you have Johnny Gargano syndrome on this guy. He's got the same skinny legs coming out, and then you connect these boots to him. It's not fixing anything, man. This is just a hideous look. It does not. If you go watch Solo Sikoa, there's not a gap between the knee pad and the shorts like this, and then there's not a gap between the knee pad and the kick pad. The kick pad goes all the way up here. It's a lot more together. It's not so spread out. It's just an odd look, and it doesn't look good. And they have done, and in this portion of the video, I'm not even really talking about the Ultimate or the Elite 107 right here. I mean, I don't care for these figures that much because of just the wretched formula. But the Elite 104, you know, they rushed him out. The torso wasn't good. The accuracies weren't good. And that is why he's here. And I know they turned around, released the 107, released the top picks, thinking, oh, that's going to fix it. No, I don't think so, Brad. Solo Sikoa still has a terrible track record of figures. And his weekend figure could end up being his best figure so far to this day. And I don't like that figure either. So that just kind of tells you where we are with Solo Sikoa figure lore. But then we're coming down to the last figure that I want to talk about today that genuinely pissed me off. Leave your prediction. Leave your prediction. What do you think it's going to be down in the comment section below? It's going to be none other AEW Unrivaled Series 5 Luchasaurus. Oh my goodness. And honestly, what better time than to discuss this? What better time to discuss this? Because I'm pretty sure to social media yesterday, he did share a video about him reviving Luchasaurus. So the character is going to come back. Thank God. I'm very excited for that because I'm a big Luchasaurus guy. And this figure aesthetically is one of the best wrestling figures possibly released in the past 5-6 years. I'm dead serious. That's how immaculate this figure looks aesthetically. From the build to the shape to the tattoos to the mask sculpt to the paint apps to everything at this figure is incredible. But after that, Brad, that is where the show ends. I think it's a perfect head sculpt and arms and torso. This figure is legitimately built like a beast. But then the bell rings. You gotta pose him around, man. You try to do any type of ab crunch, his torso pops off. His legs are very wobbly. If you try to do different things, his feet want to spread out. It's for whatever reason, man. His legs just keep wanting to spread like your mom. You got the upper thigh cut, which is fine, but then the double jointed knee, I even cut the tassels off the back of the knee pads, and he still can't bend his knee even 90 degrees. Look at that. Less than 90 degrees on the knee bend is just atrocious. And then they didn't even give him shin cut or kick pad rotation of any kind whatsoever. My goodness. If you like the pose figures, this is not the guy you want. This is not the guy you want. This guy will give you headaches. He just slides all over the place. And again, no ab crunch. You can't do anything there. Man, dude, I love this figure, but I cannot. It is genuinely, it might have pissed me off the most. And it's up there with the most disappointing figure releases of all time. But while at the same time, it's the biggest kind of 50-50 or most impressive yet least impressive figures you'll ever see. It's just a very crazy oddity in my wrestling figure collection because it's so damn good, yet so damn bad. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, that figure's amazing because look how it looks. It just looks perfect. But I think a figure is way more than that, man. I just think a figure is so much more than a statue or having a figure that looks like a beast or whatever. There's a term in football that we like to use, and this has been a thing for a very long time. I'm sure any coaches or anybody that's coached sports or been around the game may have heard this, but there's a saying that is out there that says a player looks like Tarzan but plays like Jane, and it's basically saying, oh, that kid has all the intangibles. He's fast, he's strong, he looks like a freak, and then the whistle blows and he's soft or doesn't play hard or doesn't play like the way that he looks, if that makes sense. You think, oh, this kid's going to be a freak. He's going to dominate, and then he's just soft, man. He's just soft. He's hard-nosed, things like that. So that is what this Luchasaurus kind of represents for me, man. But that is 5 wrestling figures that genuinely pissed me off. Did I give you 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I gave you 5. I gave you 5 here. I want to say there was an honorable mention somewhere, but man. Okay, let's say Luchasaurus, they redo him. Yeah, you know, he's coming back to TV. Maybe AEW redoes Luchasaurus. Can you imagine if they redid this figure or redid Luchasaurus but made him posable and sturdy and everything? He's actually a guy I would love to see Mattel make just to see what formula it looks like because I think this head sculpt's phenomenal. The build of this figure is incredible, but I'm sorry, buddy. No less, man, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me today. I wanted to discuss some of these figures that genuinely pissed me off. I kind of miss making these, like, kind of classic YouTube videos here in the filming station, man. You know, take a topic, discuss it a little bit, give you some lore. Maybe you learn a thing or two here. But a huge shout out to our Patreon members, man. I appreciate all you fellas and the support so very much. You guys are incredible. But that is going to wrap it up for me today. I'd love to know all of your thoughts down in the comment section, but I'm getting the hell out. I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.